Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we are diving deep into some absolute blockbuster breaking news regarding the next-generation iPhone flagship lineup, specifically focusing on the massive technical specification leaks that have surfaced regarding the iPhone 18 Pro and the iPhone 18 Pro Maximum. If you have been keeping an eye on the smartphone industry, you know that battery life is consistently one of the most critical factors for users choosing a premium flagship device. This year, the leaks indicate that Apple is preparing to deliver something truly spectacular that will redefine our expectations of how long a smartphone can last on a single charge. We have officially received the leaked battery capacities for both premium models, and the numbers are nothing short of insane. However, as exciting as these raw numbers are, the capacity of the cell itself is only a fraction of the story. There is a whole ecosystem of hardware updates, architectural redesigns, and custom silicon developments coming down the pipeline that will work in tandem to squeeze out every possible minute of operational time. We need to look closely at the broader picture because what Apple is doing under the hood for this upcoming generation represents a massive paradigm shift in how they handle internal power distribution, thermal efficiency, and cellular connectivity. To properly understand the magnitude of these upcoming upgrades, we first have to establish a clear baseline by looking at where the current technology stands. Let's break down the situation with the smaller flagship model, the iPhone 18 Pro. If we take a look at the previous generation, the iPhone 17 Pro currently utilizes a battery capacity of 4,252 mAh in its United States variant. This was a monumental milestone for the smaller Pro form factor because it represented a staggering jump of roughly 600 mAh compared to the older iPhone 16 Pro that arrived the year before it. Because of that massive historical leap, many enthusiasts and consumers have been eagerly anticipating another giant jump in physical capacity for this upcoming cycle. However, the latest inside information suggests that we need to temper our expectations regarding a raw physical size increase for the smaller model. The reality is that the massive capacity spike we saw previously was entirely due to the fact that the internal architecture was redesigned from the ground up. Even though the exterior chassis retained a familiar aesthetic design language, the internal components, the logic board layout, and the structural brackets were completely overhauled to maximize the available physical space for the battery cell. Because that radical ground-up reorganization already took place so recently, Apple is not completely changing the internal layout again this year. Instead, they are focusing on optimization and refinement. The latest schematic leaks reveal that the iPhone 18 Pro will see a modest physical capacity increase of 36 mAh. This subtle adjustment will bring the final capacity of the iPhone 18 Pro battery to a total of 4,288 mAh. While a 36 mAh increase might sound insignificant on paper, especially when compared to the massive jumps of the past, you absolutely cannot look at this number in a vacuum. The physical size of the battery is merely the reservoir. How efficiently that energy is siphoned, managed, and consumed by the internal components is what ultimately determines real-world longevity. As we explore the new silicon architecture, you will quickly see why this minor capacity bump will still translate into a noticeable extension of daily battery endurance. The story takes a far more dramatic turn when we shift our focus over to the absolute pinnacle of Apple's flagship lineup, the iPhone 18 Pro Maximum. For the users who demand the absolute maximum screen real estate and the absolute longest endurance possible, the leaks regarding the Pro Max model are going to be music to your ears. To provide some context, the current iPhone 17 Pro Max features a substantial 5,088 mAh battery cell in the United States market. This itself was a highly praised upgrade over the older iPhone 16 Pro Max, which relied on a 4,685 mAh capacity. Just like its smaller sibling, the previous Pro Max model achieved its impressive power gains because Apple engineers fundamentally altered the internal layout of the chassis, relocating vital components and shrinking structural connectors to ensure that the physical battery could occupy as much physical volume as humanly possible inside the titanium frame. For the upcoming iPhone 18 Pro Max, Apple is not holding back whatsoever. The leak reveals that instead of a minor incremental update, the premium Pro Max model is scheduled to receive a massive power boost of 479 mAh for the US hardware configuration. When you add that substantial increase to the existing framework, the final total climbs to an astonishing 5,667 mAh capacity. A physical battery cell of this magnitude inside a mainline Apple flagship is unprecedented. This massive physical expansion means that, purely from a hardware capacity standpoint, the device will possess an immense reservoir of electrical energy that will comfortably push the boundaries of multi-day battery life, even under heavy professional workloads, sustained gaming sessions, or extensive content creation tasks. This brings us to the core reason why these capacity numbers are only a small piece of a much larger, highly sophisticated puzzle. The true catalyst for the revolutionary battery life we expect to see across both the iPhone 18 Pro and the iPhone 18 Pro Max is the introduction of Apple's brand new system-on-a-chip, the A20 Pro. This silicon is shaping up to be one of the most critical historical milestones for Apple's semiconductor division because it marks the first time in multiple hardware generations that the underlying chip architecture has been fundamentally redesigned from a structural standpoint. For the past few years, we have heard extensive discussions regarding the transition to a highly advanced 2-nanometer manufacturing process, and we can confirm that this highly anticipated technological leap is officially happening for this generation. The shift to a 2-nanometer process node is a massive achievement on its own, as it allows engineers to pack billions of additional transistors into an incredibly microscopic footprint. However, the real magic lies in how Apple has decided to construct and package the actual die this time around. Leaked internal schematics and manufacturing blueprints indicate that the physical layout of the A20 Pro chip is entirely different from anything we have seen over the last several product cycles. Apple has utilized this ultra-precise 2-nanometer fabrication process to completely repackage the internal architecture of the chip, optimizing the physical distance between processing cores, the cache memory, and the neural engine pathways. By shrinking the physical traces and reconfiguring the overall geometry of the silicon, they have managed to drastically reduce electrical resistance and minimize the thermal output generated during intense processing spikes. The direct result of this architectural triumph is an unparalleled level of energy efficiency. The power efficiency curve of the A20 Pro chip is so radically optimized that even if you were to theoretically remove the new battery cells and power the iPhone 18 Pro using the older, smaller battery from the previous generation, you would still observe a massive, highly tangible improvement in daily operational hours. This revolutionary efficiency matrix applies equally to both the standard Pro and the Pro Max variants, ensuring that every milliwatt of power drawn from the battery is utilized with absolute surgical precision. Adding another layer of fascination to this developing narrative is a major hardware divergence regarding cellular connectivity, which will particularly impact consumers living outside of the United States, including markets across Europe, Asia, and China. For these international regions, Apple is reportedly planning to introduce their highly anticipated, completely custom-engineered internal wireless modems, known internally as the C2 or C2X chipsets. This marks a massive transition away from third-party networking hardware. Much like the initial rollout of the proprietary C1 and C1X communication chips in other specialized devices, these new custom modems are built from the ground up by Apple's in-house engineering teams to integrate seamlessly with their native silicon ecosystem. The primary advantage of a fully customized, first-party modem is the elimination of unnecessary communication overhead between separate chips. The C2 and C2X modems are designed to operate at a fraction of the power required by legacy communication hardware, drastically reducing the massive battery drain typically associated with searching for cellular towers, switching between different network bands, or maintaining high-speed data streams over extended periods. However, there is a fascinating geographical trade-off at play here. In international markets like Europe and China, smartphones still require the inclusion of a physical SIM card tray to accommodate local carrier infrastructure. The physical mechanisms and space required to house a physical SIM card slot inevitably take up valuable physical volume inside the smartphone chassis, which means that the absolute physical size of the battery cell in these international models will be slightly smaller than the ultra-optimized, completely eSIM-reliant versions sold within the United States. The twist in the story occurs when we look at the United States variant of the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Maximum. According to the latest insider reports, the US versions will not feature the custom C2 or C2X modems. Instead, Apple will continue to utilize premium Qualcomm modem hardware for the American market, maintaining a structural continuity very similar to what was implemented in the previous generation. The primary reason for this strategic decision boils down to regional network infrastructure complexity. Several major metropolitan areas across the United States rely heavily on ultra-high-frequency 5G mmWave (mmWave) technology to deliver blazing-fast network speeds in densely populated environments like stadiums, downtown city centers, and transit hubs. As it stands, Apple's nascent first-party C2 and C2X custom modems do not yet possess mature, fully optimized hardware support for these highly complex mmWave frequencies. As a result, to ensure absolute network compatibility and performance parity across all domestic carriers, Apple is retaining Qualcomm's advanced solutions for the US models. This creates a highly unique competitive dynamic between the different regional models. In previous generations, the US versions frequently held a clear advantage in overall battery longevity because the complete absence of a physical SIM tray allowed for a physically larger battery cell. This time around, however, the incredible power efficiency of the custom Apple C2 chip in the international models could potentially offset the slight disadvantage of having a smaller physical battery size due to the physical SIM tray. We might very well witness a scenario where the international models, despite their slightly smaller physical battery capacity, run completely neck and neck with, or even slightly outperform, the physically larger US models in real-world battery endurance tests, simply because the custom Apple modem draws so much less power than the high-performance Qualcomm chip handling complex US network bands. It will be incredibly exciting to see how these two distinct hardware approaches perform in real-world benchmark comparisons once the devices land in the hands of global consumers. Amidst these incredible technical revelations, it is also important to touch upon some exciting channel updates and milestones that are currently underway. There are two major giveaway events designed to show appreciation for the incredible community that supports the content. The first event is an exclusive giveaway dedicated entirely to the growing channel members section. The initial target milestone for this giveaway has been officially reduced to make it far more attainable for the community. Originally set at a higher threshold, the goal is now locked in at exactly 1,000 active channel members. The moment the community crosses that 1,000 member mark, an automatic draw will take place, and one lucky channel member will win a brand new iPhone 17 Pro Maximum. If you are already a member, your entry is completely automated, meaning you don't have to navigate complex steps to be in the running. The second major event is an expansive subscriber giveaway open to absolutely everyone worldwide. For this global giveaway, the prize is an incredibly powerful, top-tier 15-inch M4 MacBook Air. This specific hardware configuration is a beast of a machine, boasting a generous 512 GB of high-speed solid-state storage paired with an upgraded 24 GB of unified memory, making it a perfect tool for heavy multitasking, professional productivity, or creative workflows. To participate in this global MacBook Air giveaway, the process is incredibly straightforward. First, you must ensure that you are fully subscribed to the channel. Second, you just need to leave a thoughtful comment below expressing exactly what specific piece of technology gear you are personally hoping to acquire throughout the remainder of the year. It does not have to be an Apple product whatsoever, whether you are saving up for a next-generation flagship smartphone, a professional workstation, an upcoming gaming console like the highly anticipated Nintendo Switch 2, or a PlayStation 5 Pro, absolutely any piece of tech infrastructure qualifies. The ultimate goal for this massive hardware giveaway is to hit a channel milestone of 850,000 total subscribers. The speed at which the community can rally together to cross that 850,000 subscriber mark directly dictates how quickly the winner can be drawn and the premium machine shipped out. Sharing the videos with friends, colleagues, and family members who share a passion for cutting-edge technology is a fantastic way to accelerate the progress. As the channel closes in on that precise subscriber metric, a dedicated update video will be published detailing the final confirmation steps, including a secure operational form that participants will need to complete to finalize their entries. Ensuring that your notification bell is turned on is highly recommended so that you are immediately alerted when that critical update goes live. On a quick but incredibly vital safety note, The community needs to remain highly vigilant regarding the persistent rise of digital scammers, malicious bots, and automated impersonators operating in the comment sections. There are numerous fraudulent accounts mimicking the channel's visual branding, attempting to trick viewers into reaching out via external communication platforms such as WhatsApp, Telegram, or Instagram direct messages claiming you have won a prize. Please be completely aware that the channel will never ask you to migrate to external chat applications to claim a reward. If you encounter any suspicious profiles attempting to solicit personal details or financial coordinates under the guise of an official giveaway, please completely ignore their messages and immediately utilize the platform's reporting tools to help keep the community safe. Moving past the technicalities of the power delivery systems and channel milestones, the leaks also provide a treasure trove of information regarding several other major hardware enhancements coming to the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max, starting with an exciting transformation of the physical color palette. For this upcoming hardware generation, Apple is planning to offer a refined selection of 4 distinct colorways. The headliner for this year's aesthetic lineup is an all-new, deeply sophisticated dark cherry finish. This elegant color option is expected to provide a rich, premium aesthetic that beautifully catches the light while maintaining a deeply professional, understated tone. Alongside this bold new addition, Apple is also bringing back a highly requested fan-favorite hue in the form of a beautiful light blue, which many insiders speculate will closely mirror the iconic, incredibly popular Sierra blue aesthetic from previous classic generations. For those who prefer a more traditional, stealthy appearance, the lineup will witness the triumphant return of a deep, true space black or an ultra-dark monochromatic black variant designed to perfectly complement the premium titanium frame. Finally, the timeless, universally adored classic silver colorway will remain a staple option, ensuring that users who appreciate a clean, reflective, and metallic look have the perfect choice available to them. Another massive visual and functional refinement coming to the front display of both the iPhone 18 Pro and the iPhone 18 Pro Max centers entirely around the evolution of the dynamic island. Since its original introduction, the punch-hole interface has been a highly functional element for tracking live activities, managing media playback, and navigating system alerts, but it has also occasionally drawn criticism for its physical footprint, particularly when users are trying to immerse themselves in full-screen media consumption, wide-aspect videos, or expansive mobile gaming titles. To address this feedback, Apple's display engineering teams have successfully executed an upgrade that will shrink the overall dimensions of the dynamic island by approximately 1/3 of its current size. It is crucial to understand that this reduction does not mean a portion of the interface is being awkwardly chopped off or truncated at the edges. Rather, the entire structural footprint of the cutout is being uniformly scaled down into a far more compact, elegant, and non-intrusive geometry. This substantial shrinkage will free up valuable display real estate, allowing for a far more expansive and uninterrupted viewing experience while fully retaining all of the contextual software interactions and fluid animations that make the user interface so unique. The engineering breakthroughs extend far beyond simple display aesthetics, reaching deep into the realm of global cellular and orbital connectivity. While the introduction of specialized modems represents a massive step forward for terrestrial networking, Apple is also introducing a monumental upgrade to the device's orbital satellite communication capabilities. The current iteration of satellite connectivity found in modern smartphones is highly restricted, serving primarily as an emergency safety net designed to facilitate basic SOS text messages, basic roadside assistance coordination, or primitive location sharing through specialized applications when a user finds themselves entirely stranded outside the boundaries of cellular coverage. With the launch of the iPhone 18 Pro series, Apple is set to completely shatter these limitations by introducing genuine, fully functional global satellite internet connectivity. This means that users will no longer be limited to sending rigid, pre-formatted emergency texts. Instead, you will gain the unprecedented ability to establish a live data connection directly with orbiting satellite constellations, allowing you to browse standard websites, read online blogs, keep up with current news feeds, and send rich, unstructured communication messages across mainstream third-party applications such as WhatsApp. The system is being engineered to support media workflows as well. Users will potentially be able to stream digital music tracks and even view online video content completely independent of ground-based cellular towers. Because satellite bandwidth is inherently limited compared to massive terrestrial fiber networks, video streaming will likely be capped at lower, highly optimized resolutions, starting at a standard 480p or scaling up to a crisp 720p at absolute peak efficiency. The profound implication of this technological leap is that you will possess a reliable, fully operational window to the global internet regardless of your geographical location on the planet. Whether you are trekking through the dense canopy of a tropical jungle, conducting research in the frozen expanses of the Antarctic continent, or traveling across the most isolated stretches of a barren desert, as long as you have a clear line of sight to the open sky, your smartphone will remain connected to the digital world, providing an unparalleled layer of personal convenience, communication flexibility, and operational safety. Turning our attention to the optics, the camera systems on the rear and front of these upcoming flagships are receiving some of the most advanced mechanical and digital upgrades ever attempted in mobile photography. Starting with the front-facing optics nestled within that newly shrunken dynamic island, the selfie camera is receiving a long-awaited physical resolution upgrade. The sensor is jumping from the older 18-megapixel baseline up to a brand-new, highly advanced 24-megapixel camera sensor. This physical resolution bump means that your front-facing captures, portrait selfies, and high-definition video calls will retain a staggering amount of fine detail, offering sharper image clarity, vastly improved low-light performance, and a significantly higher degree of flexibility when cropping into an image without sacrificing crispness or introducing digital noise. The true showstopper of this camera overhaul, however, is located on the back of the device within the main wide-angle camera module. According to the leaked documentation, Apple is officially introducing a physical variable aperture mechanism to the primary rear lens of the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Maximum. For photography enthusiasts who understand the mechanics of traditional standalone imaging equipment, a variable aperture is a monumental inclusion. In standard DSLR or mirrorless camera lenses, the aperture is controlled by a series of physical, overlap-ping mechanical blades or shutters that physically expand or contract inside the lens barrel when you adjust the settings. For the vast majority of smartphone history, mobile lenses have been constrained by a fixed aperture, meaning the physical opening that allows light to hit the sensor remains entirely static, forcing the device to rely almost exclusively on complex software algorithms, artificial computational blur, and digital exposure adjustments to simulate depth and manage difficult lighting conditions. By implementing a true mechanical variable aperture directly into the iPhone 18 Pro's main sensor, Apple is shifting the paradigm back to pure optical physics. When you are shooting a portrait or focusing on a specific subject, the physical blades within the lens will automatically adjust to create a genuine, optically perfect shallow depth of field, naturally blurring out the background with beautiful, silky bokeh while keeping your primary subject tack-sharp without any of the telltale edge detection errors often associated with purely digital portrait modes. Furthermore, this mechanical system provides unprecedented physical control over light intake. If you are shooting on a blindingly bright day under direct sunlight, the internal shutters can physically contract to reduce the amount of incoming light, preventing overexposure and preserving rich highlight detail without forcing the shutter speed to unnatural levels. Conversely, when the sun goes down or you step into a dimly lit indoor environment, the aperture blades will fully open to their widest physical state, allowing the maximum possible volume of ambient light to flood the sensor naturally, drastically reducing image grain and eliminating the need for overly aggressive, artificial digital brightening techniques. To complement this advanced photographic power, Apple is also revising the physical interaction points on the chassis, specifically focusing on the specialized camera capture button that was originally introduced across the preceding hardware lines. While the dedication of a physical, touch-sensitive button for camera controls was widely praised for its utility, the implementation suffered from a major hidden drawback regarding long-term durability and maintenance infrastructure. Internal repair metrics revealed that because of the highly complex combination of capacitive touch sensors, force detection mechanics, and physical click switches embedded within that single component, it quickly became one of the most astronomically expensive individual parts to replace or repair if the phone suffered an impact or structural damage. To remedy this issue for the upcoming generation, Apple has successfully engineered a highly optimized, significantly simplified iteration of the camera capture button. The manufacturing processes have been re-engineered to utilize a more modular, cost-efficient structural design that drastically lowers the overall complexity of the component. This design shift ensures that if a user accidentally damages the button, the corresponding repair costs will be significantly more affordable and straightforward. Beyond the internal structural changes, the external tactile interface is also being refined to offer a much cleaner, far more intuitive, and user-friendly experience, making it easier than ever to smoothly slide through zoom levels, adjust exposure metrics, or instantly snap high-resolution photos with natural muscle memory. Rounding out this comprehensive list of leaked upgrades is a subtle but highly impactful transformation regarding the structural glass elements on the rear of the device. The leaks show that the premium ceramic glass back panel will feature a distinct textural departure from the material finishes used previously. The new glass formulation implements a far more pronounced, uniformly frosted texture that completely redefines the tactile feel of holding the device. This highly advanced frosting process allows the chosen colorways to blend seamlessly with the matte finish of the surrounding titanium band, creating a beautifully unified, continuous, and ultra-premium visual aesthetic. This design shift is a direct response to consumer feedback regarding some of the previous design choices, where certain lighting conditions highlighted an awkward, multi-tone contrast between the camera housing and the main back panel. With this new frosted ceramic execution, the entire rear surface achieves a cozy, perfectly blended look that exudes sophistication from every angle. When you stack these visual refinements on top of the revolutionary camera innovations, the massive global satellite upgrades, the smaller display cutouts, the incredible custom networking silicon, and those absolutely massive, record-breaking battery capacities powered by the next-generation 2nm A20 Pro chip, it becomes abundantly clear that the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max are shaping up to be an absolute powerhouse generation. It will be incredibly fascinating to see how these leaks translate into the final retail hardware, and the anticipation within the global technology community is already reaching a fever pitch. As we look deeper into the structural implications of this monumental hardware shift, it becomes critically important to explore how these individual pieces of leaked data fit together to influence the daily operational habits of future iPhone users. For years, the tech community has debated whether smartphone innovation has hit a definitive plateau, with annual updates offering little more than incremental speed boosts and minor cosmetic tweaks. However, the sheer volume and nature of the specifications leaked for the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max firmly debunk the notion of a stagnation phase. What we are witnessing is a holistic realignment of smartphone infrastructure, driven heavily by Apple's long-term strategy to establish absolute independence from third-party component suppliers while pushing the limits of thermodynamic and computational efficiency. This comprehensive approach is particularly evident when analyzing the interplay between the 2nm A20 Pro system-on-a-chip and the radically enlarged power reservoirs. To truly appreciate the engineering feats required to achieve these milestones, one must visualize the internal environment of a modern ultra-premium smartphone. Within an incredibly constrained physical footprint measuring less than 9mm in thickness, engineers must safely house a massive high-resolution display, a complex array of multi-layered logic boards, multiple high-fidelity speaker enclosures, advanced haptic motors, an intricate triple-lens camera module with shifting mechanical parts, and a massive chemical battery cell. Every single millimeter of space is heavily contested, and any decision to alter a component has an immediate, cascading impact on the entire layout. In past generations, if Apple wanted to increase the battery capacity by a significant margin, they were almost entirely forced to expand the physical dimensions of the device, resulting in a heavier, bulkier smartphone that sacrificed ergonomic comfort. The fact that the iPhone 18 Pro Max managed to pack an astounding 5,667 mAh battery cell without radically ballooning the physical thickness of the device implies that Apple has made massive breakthroughs in internal material sciences and component density. One of the primary catalysts for this enhanced spatial efficiency is the rumored adoption of advanced packaging technology for the A20 Pro processor. In traditional smartphone chip design, the main processor die, which houses the central processing unit, graphics processing unit, and neural processing architecture, is placed adjacent to the system's volatile random access memory using standard board layouts. This configuration requires dedicated horizontal space on the primary logic board and relies on distinct silicon pathways to transmit data back and forth between the memory and the computing cores. With the transition to next-generation integrated packaging, Apple is effectively reimagining this layout by stacking high-speed unified memory directly onto the exact same semiconductor wafer as the primary processing units. This architectural shift creates a tightly clustered computing environment that drastically reduces the physical distance that electronic signals must travel to execute tasks, resulting in massive cumulative power savings over the course of a normal day of mixed usage. When you pair this ultra-smart system behavior with the raw capacity increase of the battery cells and the structural efficiency of the 2nm processor, it becomes easy to see why the real-world battery life gains are projected to be among the most substantial we have seen in modern smartphone history. Keep your notifications locked to the channel as we continue to track every incoming update, blooper, int, and supplier leak leading up to the official launch event.